there, Minnesota Vikings fans. You are listening to the Purple People podcast. Guess what? We got Adam Carlson back this week.
I really thought you were going to say chicken butt after you said guess what.
I should have, but I knew that you would be there to have my back, sir.
I am on top of all chicken-related posterior jokes.
We also have Kyle Smith out there somewhere. I don't know where he's at anymore, but he's here.
I'm in Texas still, and if Adam Carlson's got your back, then I got your front.
Awesome. You guys are fantastic.
All right. Woo. Yeah, I missed you guys last week.
Don't worry, I'm sure the rest of the people who listen were like, please, dear God, where's Adam at?
Please come back.
It was weird listening to a show I wasn't on. It was strange.
But hey, guess what? The ship didn't sink, and you're here to steer it now.
That's right, and we got episode number 167 going on right now. I titled this one, The Dallas Criers Club. Now, apparently there's a movie called The Dallas Buyers Club, and that's pretty much all I know about it.
Fantastic cinematic adventure.
I took Buyers out and put Criers in because I think the thought of the Cowboys crying is pretty cool. And that's pretty much all I know about it. I think Matthew McConaughey's in it or something.
Indeed he is. It is an excellent film. You should really, really watch it.
I'll pass.
Ah, you should.
Did you just do that in your Matthew McConaughey voice, too?
But let's go into the quick hits. Okay, we have a very limited number of quick hits because we've got a lot of transaction. Then we got game to talk about. And then we got social media question. We got a full show for you guys.
Yeah.
So let's go with the quick hits. The first one has to do with Josh Robinson. I know a lot of you guys aren't huge Josh Robinson fans. But he's been placed on the PUP list, which is also the reserve list. And they have determined that he will not count against the 53-man roster while he's on there. So I hope he can take his time, get healthy, come back and contribute.
Mm-hmm.
Up next, we have safety Antone Exum, who landed on the Football Outsiders list of future stars. Now, normally, I don't give a crap about lists of people that are saying, okay, you know, this guy's pretty good, this guy's all right. This Football Outsiders list of future stars has had a track record of just absolutely nailing upcoming players. So it's a pretty big compliment for Antone Exum, and personally, I don't quite see it yet. But then again, I am pretty bad at evaluating defensive backs, so that's me. I don't know.
Lots of hype around Antone Exum Jr. You forgot the Jr. That's an important part of his name.
I'm not saying Jr. on all these guys. I'm not saying it for Gerald Hodges either.
I figure if Paul Allen says it, then it's okay for me to say it. And Paul Allen calls him Antone Exum Jr., so I feel like I can say that too.
But I'm wondering if the Football Outsiders are saying this about Antone Exum because of his football skills or his rapping career.
I'm going to guess third option, they listen to Paul Allen as well. Like, we should get behind this kid.
Well, let's talk about Paul Allen for a second. Okay. Why not, right?
Sure.
What's his obsession with preseason records?
Yeah, it's Paul Allen, dude. I mean...
Anything to make the Vikings sound freaking awesome. That's why he gets paid to do what he does. Because I noticed that too, and there's nothing worse than having some of your friends read and be like, congratulations, you've won all your preseason games.
I hope it's not like, you know, the whole Detroit situation, win all your preseason games and lose every regular season game.
Don't jinx it. Don't do it.
We're not Detroit. The Vikings are not the Lions. At least not that time of Lions. That time of Lions were absolutely horrible.
We're not, because we have Teddy.
That's right.
We got Mike Zimmer. I would fear. If we lose all those games, I'd be in fear for my life for that coach.
It's true. You talked about Teddy Bridgewater, and a pretty cool story came out about Teddy Bridgewater reconnecting with his church. And when he's not playing football on Sundays, he is at his church down in Florida, and he is singing in the choir. Literally.
He is such a good kid and a positive role model. Seriously.
It's almost sickening how good he is.
Don't you just wonder? I don't even want to say.
He's got to have this sick life, like, behind closed doors. He's got, like, an S&M thing going on, or, you know, just, like, some really weird, kinky thing that he's hiding from everybody. And I'm waiting for it. It's Vikings fans. We wait for something to come out and be like, oh, well, Teddy Bridgewater
It's
likes to
Murphy's
punch
Law.
little kids in the face, like that's gonna come out or something. I'm just waiting for it. It's got to be something.
I am gonna say no, there is not. Teddy is legitimately that good of a kid. There is nothing. He has never done anything wrong in his entire life. We're gonna start calling him Honest Teddy Bridgewater. That's
He
his
never
new
took a
nickname.
cookie from the cookie jar.
Never. He takes your car for a joyride and he puts more gas in it than what you had. And he gives it back. That is Teddy Bridgewater.
Oh, jeez.
Teddy for 2020. Here we go.
But I thought that story was really cool. Another story that isn't as cool as the developing story of John Sullivan's back. We haven't been hearing a lot about what's going on there, and that's what's got people concerned. Right now, the Vikings have Joe Berger plugged in there, and they still have Zach Kieran on the roster as well. So it's not as if the team doesn't have backups at center, but John Sullivan is one of the best centers in the NFL when he's healthy. So hopefully he can get back to speed and get back to action. On to a sad note. The construction of U.S. Bank Stadium. I don't know if you guys talked about this last week.
No, we did not.
During the construction of the stadium, there were two gentlemen on the roof of the stadium. One of them was able to stay on the roof during whatever accident was going on. Another slipped off and landed in one of the snow gutters and eventually passed away at the hospital. That gentleman's name was Jeremy Gruber. And we, at the podcast, we talked about it and we sent our condolences out to the family, and we still do. It's a horrible tragedy. In response to that, when the Minnesota Vikings played the Cowboys in the preseason game, they did, I forgot what the word was, but basically what they did was they said they were going to play the game in honor of Jeremy Gruber, which was a pretty cool statement considering that he isn't really connected to the team, but because of what he was doing for the stadium and the horrible thing that happened there, it was a great gesture, and it's something that I felt was really nice.
And I think they might be wearing his initials on their helmets this year, too.
They did. On the back of the
Yes.
helmet, they've got JG. I don't know if that was just for the Cowboys game or if that's going to keep
be all
running.
season or not, but yeah,
But I
horrible.
know it was there
cool.
for that game at least.
Mhm.
And now we got a fun one.
Yeah.
Have you guys heard the Chris Carter Fall Guy speech yet?
Oh, we
Yes.
talked about it.
Yes, way to put
You guys did
yourself
last
in
week.
hot water.
Mm-hmm.
Woo. We
Okay,
did
if
not
you guys
talk
talked
this
about last week,
Oh, we talked
Okay.
about it before the show. That's right.
Yeah, we didn't. We
Okay,
actually
so-
talked about it on the show.
Yeah, that's the pre-show show that you guys don't even get to hear.
Chris Carter was hanging out at the rookie symposium with a bunch of the NFC kids, and he was there talking with Warren Sapp up there on the stage, and they were advising these guys on what to do, how to conduct yourself, stay out of trouble,
Get a
manage
full
the money,
guy.
all this kind of stuff. Yeah, and
Yeah.
Chris Carter says one of the most important things when you're running in a group is to have a fall guy to take blame for whatever's going on. They're spending your money. He brought Teddy Bridgewater on stage.
Yeah, of all people, he brings our choir boy Teddy up there, who
And he asked
clearly
Teddy, he said, "Do you have a fall guy?" And Teddy's like, "Yep."
and Teddy was like, "Get me off this stage. I don't have a fall
Teddy would
guy."
have said anything to get off that stage.
Yes, you could just body language. I am no expert, but Teddy wanted off that stage.
But
Don't drag him down, CC. Don't do it. Come on, man.
eventually, Chris Carter took to his Twitter, and I believe he also did an interview on ESPN apologizing for the statement. And to be honest, I'm going to sound like a hypocrite here. I have absolutely no problem with this speech. The problem I have is that it didn't stay in the brotherhood of NFL players.
Where?
That's the problem that I have with it. Now, this practice is something that is widely known and widely accepted on most college campuses that have a football program. If you've ever gone to college and know anything about the football program, you know that they have their star players well protected with fall guys.
Where
So-
was Warren Sapp's fall guy? Did you forget to pay him?
I don't know,
That's
but
a great question.
he needs to hook up. Chris Carter needs to hook Teddy Bridgewater up with Ray Rice's fall guy. That's all. Or Ray Lewis's fall guy. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, there
It's
we go.
it's very, very prevalent out there, and I don't care what anyone says. all the
bad
evidence
part
being
is
out
that he
there.
said it. It's not the bad part that he recommended it. The bad part is that it got out that he said it.
Yeah, that it was
In
on
my-
video on NFL.com. How stupid were they to post it? And it was up there for, what, a year?
Yeah, before anybody even really took notice.
Well, it's because there was that kid that retired from the 49ers, and within his interview that he had gave, he didn't specifically name Chris Carter, but he had made the comment about how he was at this event, and an NFL legend had basically said, "Get the fall guy." Apparently, that got people digging through the archives and found this video, brought it to light, ended up being Chris Carter, so that's kind of how this came to the forefront a year later after that it was originally posted.
Well, that's just the thing. You got to think about the anatomy of what the NFL is. You got a bunch of testosterone-driven athletes, and they're all male. It's just like the military. I mean, I can say that because I've been in it for, 8 years now? Everybody is great at what they do. That's why they're professionals, yada, yada, yada. But let's cut it down to the chase. You have a way that you are publicly while you do your job, and then you have your off time. And when you have that camaraderie, I think it's just like that in any job. It's just different degrees. They're going to be crazy. They're going to say some inappropriate things and all that stuff. I totally agree with Adam, though. If this would have just stayed in the locker room, nobody would ever be any the wiser, and it wouldn't be a big deal. But I can't believe it came out in the public eye. That's what
and
gets me.
Let's be a little honest here, too. It's not bad advice.
For as much money as they make, no. I mean, it's really not.
It's like Chris Carter said, you got Teddy Bridgewater Inc. here. You have to protect yourself and your investment to ensure the lifestyle of you and your friends and family.
And if you're going to go out and do stupid things, like that's what he was getting at, is,
because Teddy goes on and does stupid stuff all the time.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, well, let's move on. Let's move on to actual topics.
Like players getting cut. I
Yes.
hate talking about players getting cut.
Unless they're Brandon Bostic, then I'm kind of okay with it.
I didn't mind Brandon Bostic. I don't like that his career is defined by one botched moment. But that's the way the media will always have it. That's all people remember.
Yes. But it happened while he was in Green Bay, so we are still allowed to laugh at him for that.
Hopefully he'll catch on somewhere. I mean, he does have some talent, and hopefully he's smartened up and knows to block now instead of jump and try to catch. Do your assignment.
Hey, let's face it.
That kind of stuff.
You're not making this roster as a tight end. That is a really tough road to climb. So, yeah.
No, he didn't really have a chance there. Other players released were running back Joe Banyard, which was an early cut. Mm-hmm. Mr. West had a theory about that. He felt that Mr. Banyard was released in order to give him a little bit of time to catch on with another team, possibly to hop on as RB3, and I could totally see that happening.
Yeah, because we know who our guys are. I think it's been set for a while now. Peterson, Asiata, McKinnon, and just kind of no room for Banyard. So you cut him a little bit early instead of making him wait until the last minute when most rosters are set. Maybe, like you said, with some of the other backs that get released or get injured, he's got time to pick up with another squad.
Yeah, like you could head on over to Buffalo where
precisely
Jackson just got cut.
Call Oakland, they need a running back.
I don't know. Latavius Murray looks like a beast. And they still got Roy Helu.
Hello.
Love that, guys.
You always have to say Roy Helu like you're Mrs. Doubtfire.
I was just gonna do the Miss Doubtfire reference. Adam, you're a genius, an absolute genius.
So we got more cuts here that are less entertaining. We got offensive lineman Carter Bykowski, cornerback Jaleel Carter, cornerback Justin Coleman, wide receiver Devaris Daniels, offensive tackle Stephen Gooden, linebacker Josh Cato, wide receiver Jordan Leslie, long snapper Colin Leffler, defensive end Caesar Rayford, defensive tackle Krishan Rose, and cornerback DeMarcus Van Dyke.
We should have went to Kansas City.
That's what he says, yeah.
I don't
know if that tweet has been deleted or not, but...
That tweet was almost immediately deleted. I'm assuming he got a call from a agent that said, take that shit down right now if you want a job in the NFL again. Kid was not happy. You can totally understand him being frustrated by being cut. But yeah, he tweeted out that he should have went to the Kansas City Chiefs.
Can I go on just a 20-second little story time?
Yeah.
Speaking of cuts and Twitter and all that stuff, so my friend, one of my friends from back home, huge Panther fan, says, I'm scrolling through Facebook and it says, here's a hint. Some cuts are about to come out today. And no, the Panthers are not going to take Cordero Patterson. And I was like, what? So I had to message him. I was like, hey, dude, I know you love the Panthers like as much as I love the Vikings. What the hell are you talking about? He's like, oh, I just read a tweet from Pro Football Talk that you guys are going to cut Cordero Patterson. So I didn't say anything,
Oh,
and
come
I
on.
sent the
Pro
link
Football
to
Talk?
the. Yeah, I know. I sent him the link to his kick return from the weekend. I was like, yeah, no, he's not going anywhere. And he's like, holy crap. He's like, I'm going to tweet them back and tell them to just get a new job. And he did, which was really awesome. But we're talking about cuts. I wanted to give a shout out, which we'll talk about the game. But I thought that was hilarious. I was like, you're damn right he's not going to Carolina because he's not leaving Minnesota.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy. The one major surprise on here is how early Colin Leffler was released. The team going with McDermott instead. A little bit of a surprise considering the youth and inexperience, but he also does have a connection with the punter, Jeff Locke, so you never know. Hopefully good things will come.
What's the connection? I honestly.
They played
I don't
college
know.
ball together,
Oh, I did not know that.
UCLA.
I'm not. Yeah, well, there you go. The more you know, Adam. Little rainbow.
Come on, man, you got to be on top of this.
Little rainbow graphic right there for you. The more you know.
I actually wrote a good article on Mr. McDermott talking about his UCLA connection.
We should pause for a minute and talk about Colin, because here's a guy who was with the team for a really long time. He's a veteran guy, and you don't talk much about long snappers, but I was listening to Paul Allen speak a little bit about Colin, and he high character guy who took his job super seriously. And PA told the story of how there was a game, I don't know, last season or whatever, where he had a bad snap and it directly resulted in like a missed field goal that lost him a game. And here Colin was, after the game, literally crying because he had cost them that game. And so there's a guy who took his job very serious, was nothing but a class act for the Vikings, a long tenured member of the team, and a bit of an end of an era.
But lighthearted side, because I heard a good story about how after almost every practice, when the reporters are out there talking to the wide receivers and everything, Colin Leffler would run by and wave at the reporters and say, "Sorry, no time to chat."
Yeah, he was a great guy, good sense of humor. Kind of sad.
And he was our first player spotlight.
I know that we don't
Get
do
to know
anymore.
Colin Leffler.
I think it was our first and only player spotlight.
It was a terrible segment. I don't know why we did that.
It was a great idea on paper, Adam.
Because we just needed to fill time. We're like, what can we do?
How about player spotlight? How about we pick the long snapper?
Yeah, what the heck were we thinking?
No, really though, you know what? I am gonna miss having him on the team. Like I said, I understand why they went with what they went with, and whatever.
I mean, who they went with, not what. It's not like he's a jug machine.
What? Kind of.
All right, one more quick thing.
Man, we missed having you.
I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but ESPN today released something called the FPI list.
What is that?
It's their football power index. What they did was they went through and they analyzed the stats from preseason.
And made up.
They analyzed the stats from last year. Then they talked to a bunch of experts and players and coaches around the league. Maybe not players, but at least coaches. And they put together a list based on the responses they've had as to what team will finish where with what ranks. So I thought it was really interesting that on the Sports Illustrated Power Rankings, Minnesota has moved up, I believe, to number 11. Now, in these FPI rankings, Minnesota is number 23.
I read this today, 23rd.
They are projected to have a number 17 offense and a number 19 defense, with a number 20 special teams.
They don't like us very much, do they?
Now, with how strong Minnesota is on special teams, I assume that the lower ranking is because of the struggles of Blair Walsh during preseason. That's pretty much the only reason I can see that being so low. Because it's not like they don't have the return team or anything. And the defense was so much better than 19 last year. And to me, I think that they only got better this year.
Yeah,
we only got stronger on that side of the ball.
To me, the big question mark's on the offensive side of the ball. I mean, getting everything together to click, that's that might take a while. Maybe there's a little bit of struggling. Offense didn't score a lot of points during their first team in the preseason games, so I could understand a lower ranking there, but I don't know. I always wonder when I see these lists and read about how they're compiled and try to figure out why they are listed the way they are. That just baffles me.
Hmm?
They just don't like us. It's not a big deal. It's not. I think
They hate
anybody
us,
that actually
but they
watches
hate
a
us.
Viking, exactly, peanut butter and jealous.
Oh, terrible. All right, so let's go into the game review. We got game balls and donkeys to give away.
Speaking of terrible, the Dallas Cowboys.
Hey, the Cowboys' first team looked sharp.
Yes, actually they did.
They looked good. Mr. Smith already gave away his donkey to us, so let's start there.
Do you want me to go?
Did I give away my donkey?
I don't remember.
Yeah,
Did
you
you?
told us. During
Oh
the
yeah,
before
that's
the
right.
show.
I did tell you.
Oh, the pre-show.
So let's start with doom and gloom. So obviously we all know, for all you listening, Adrian Peterson's not going to play in the preseason for obvious reasons.
Right.
So if you haven't been watching, we'll update you. Jerick McKinnon's been getting the nod in place, so he's the number 2 over Matt Asiata. He has not looked explosive. He's not been flashy at all. He's actually done better receiving, in my opinion, than he has been rushing the ball. And it was no different this weekend. I have the stats in front of me, and I'm just gonna take a wild guess because I glanced at it once, but
6
as I
carries
finish
for
my
10
pizza.
yards, 1.7 yards per carry.
That is
did a horrible
absolutely
job
atrocious.
blocking.
Atrocious. And you're going to be the backup now. You're sliding ahead of Matt Asiata. Let's not forget. Now, I get it's situation-based. Matt Asiata is our power back. And, they're 2 different running backs in style if you watch them. But if you're going to pass this guy, that's not the way to do it. And I hate that, Jerick got injured last year, but Matt got in the end zone 9 times last year with no AP and carried a lot of the workload. If this is the way that Jerick McKinnon's going to be if we start handing the ball to him more, I'm not going to be cool and comfortable with that. So I'm waiting for that explosive run, and I'm hoping I see one Thursday because we haven't really seen anything yet. And that yards per carry average is crap.
Like I said before, McKinnon made me a believer last year after I was very doubtful. And now with this preseason, the way it's going, I'm just back to scratching my head.
It's because I bought his jersey. That's my luck with everything. I bought a McKinnon jersey, so now he's just going to be horrible.
You got a donkey, Mr. West?
That's what. Mike Kafka, good grief, guy. You go 0 for 1, the pass sucked, you run, and then you sucked so hardcore the team promptly pulled you and put Taylor Heineke back in the game. Donkey, Mike Kafka, how come you weren't cut? Jesus, man.
He will be cut, I believe. I believe he'll be in the next round of cuts. I think that they're only keeping him so that they don't have to work either Sean Hill or Teddy Bridgewater in the preseason finale.
I think you're right. I mean, yeah.
Because no one wants to see 4 quarters of Taylor Heineke.
I don't know. Maybe is the opposite a quarter and a half of Mike Kafka? In that case, I'll take 4 quarters of Taylor Heineke.
My donkey of the week, even though he completed 6 of his 8 pass attempts, the other 2 were the most baffling passes I may have ever seen in my life.
And we've seen Christian Ponder for 4 years, folks.
You have Stephon Diggs on the outside matched up against Brandon Carr. So what are you going to do? Hail Mary, just jump ball to both of them. Just hail it down the field. The first time it happened, I was like, what? Really? Why? And then it happened again.
You and I were talking at that time, and it was hilarious getting the play-by-play. Poor Kyle West didn't get to stick around and watch it the first time. And we were just like, huh? Did I have a glitch in my screen?
And, of course, one of them was intercepted. When you just hurl the ball up there against a cornerback who's, 3 inches taller than Diggs?
Say, we all love Diggsy here at the show.
Yeah.
Kid's only
He's not the jump ball
Kid's
guy.
only 6 feet tall. I mean, this isn't Sidney Rice, for lack of a better reference offhand, out there that you can just go throw the ball to and have him go up and get it. Like, that's not his game.
No, it really isn't. And from what I saw from Sean Hill, I was just not very impressed whatsoever. hopefully, I still want to see Bridgewater and Sean Hill as the two Vikings on the main roster, with Heineke sitting on that practice squad ready to jump in a game if needed, or to act as a backup if something happens. I won't say to Teddy, but if if Sean Hill falls in the shower or something.
Breaks a hip, getting the newspaper in the morning.
I mean, accidents happen. They really do.
Yeah.
All right, so game balls. Let's start with Mr. Smith.
This is very, very hard for me because just as we've been begging Mr. Patterson to come through and do something to earn a spot, he comes through with that amazing kick return. But I'm going to go the cheap and easy route. I'm going to give it to Mr. Teddy Bridgewater. 7 for 7. It doesn't get much better than that. Only thing that would have made it better is if there was a touchdown. Awesome. His completion percentage this preseason is amazing.
Yeah.
And this game, he was just on target. I was really, really pissed off that he got pulled out as early as he did. But
I was kind of surprised at that too.
He was solid this weekend yet again. And the only thing that I'm ready to see, and we got to see a little flash of, a lot of people are dogging, where's the deep ball? Where's Mike Wallace? Well, you got both. You got a 39-yard pass to the outside. Perfectly placed ball. Good catch by Mike Wallace. I want to see that more, and it's just me being greedy. But
well, let's talk
he's
about
very
a little
smart
bit
with the
dogging
football, guys.
Because Teddy Bridgewater did not lead the team to a touchdown. He did not have the team convert any third down attempts. There's plenty of room for improvement, and although 7 for 7 for 76 yards with that nice pass to Mike Wallace looks fantastic, there's still plenty of room for Teddy Bridgewater to grow and develop. And the fact that we can nitpick a 7 for 7 performance for 76 yards is fantastic.
Teddy scrambled on that one third down play when he had a couple guys that were open. So that's what you're talking about. And there's room for improvement, but Teddy...
Yeah, he also broke contain once in the pocket, and it led to a Randy Gregory sack.
Mm-hmm.
But those are things that they just happen. They really do. And Teddy Bridgewater did play a fantastic game. He's having a great preseason. We likely, I'm going to say more than likely, will not see him in action against Tennessee. But it's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
Well, my game ball, I will go quick. My game baller for the week was also Teddy Bridgewater, because that play that he had, where he goes up to the line, and he looks at the defense, and then he looks at Mike Wallace, and
Single coverage.
And he's like, nope, we ain't going to do whatever that play was before. We're going to change a bunch of stuff around, and I'm going to throw the ball to you over here on the sidelines, and it's going to be a catch, inbounds, and it's going to be awesome. And he did it, and it was awesome, and it was great. And that's exactly what we want to see, because that is progression from Mr. Teddy Bridgewater. And I like it. It is good. Good.
He's smart. He can read defenses. He's vocal enough now to be able to change plays at the line. I love what I'm seeing from Teddy. I do. Mm-hmm. My pick, defensive side of the ball, in the middle, up front, Sharif Floyd. This guy... I know he had the huge knock on him going into the draft. Oh, he's got short arms. And I'm sure you guys remember the pictures that were coming out of Sharif Floyd where they'd either like shrunk his arms down to where they were still tiny, or they put his head on a dinosaur. Yeah. Put his head on T-Rex's body. But Sharif Floyd is just blowing past all the people that had any doubt about him being able to convert. I will admit, during draft day, I felt that Sharif Floyd wasn't a top 15 talent like a lot of the experts were. But when he fell to Minnesota at the point he was, I'm like, all right, let's see what this kid can do. And he absolutely dominated this Cowboys starting offensive line. And when you hear me say dominating the Cowboys starting offensive line, that is a major compliment. That Cowboys offensive line is built like a brick poop house. It really is.
I don't care if it was
best in football.
He's a baller. He is. The fact that he pushed players back, disrupted things, just made life hell for the opposing quarterback. Tony Romo, he felt the pressure. He did. And there were so many running plays that just got broke up by Sharif Floyd shoving people backwards. This defensive line, there's so much potential for them to be just gangbuster this year. I can't wait. Can't wait.
I don't care if it's preseason, regular season. He's playing with a bit of his chip on the shoulder because remember it was leaked that the Dallas Cowboys were one of the teams that passed on him because they felt that he had short arms and this, that, and the other thing.
It's true.
And players can say all the right things to the media about how we don't pay no attention to that and blah, blah, blah. They're human. He hears it. I'm
They
sure.
hear it.
Yep, I'm sure he was like, nope, I'm going to go prove to the Dallas Cowboys that they should have drafted me.
It's true.
Yeah.
All right, so Tony Romo was able to tear apart the Vikings defense a little bit. 5 of 8 for 88 yards, 2 touchdowns. A lot of this happened, though, when the Vikings had already pulled their starters after the first quarter. In fact, both of Tony Romo's touchdowns came in the second quarter when it was against the second team.
Mm-hmm.
And it was surprising to see the Vikings pull their starters so soon in what a lot of people consider to be a dress rehearsal game. But as we've read on many Vikings sites, including Vikings.com, head coach Mike Zimmer doesn't see it as a dress rehearsal. He sees it as just another preseason game.
Makes sense, especially considering that we're going to have 5 preseason games where everyone else has 4. You don't want to overwork your guys because, hey, we're thinking postseason, right?
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
And plus, all the just crazy freak injuries that are growing around. You got to admit that GMs and coaches and training staff and players even have to be concerned about all these players going down. If you've been paying attention to Green Bay's roster, they're decimated right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's absolutely just horrible. And it's hard to take any joy in this because, yeah, we want Green Bay to struggle so that Minnesota can have a chance in the division. But you don't want it to happen through injuries. You want it to happen because Minnesota's the better team.
Precisely.
That's what you want. So aside from Tony Romo, the Cowboys quarterbacks were absolute garbage. Absolute trash.
Mm-hmm.
Dustin Vaughn, Jameel Showers, oh, really? They did have what the heck was his name? The backup quarterback that was out for an injury. Was drafted by Brandon Weeden.
Brandon Weeden.
Yeah, they do have him there, so hopefully these guys aren't going to be Tony Romo's backups anytime soon. But that was brutal to watch at the end. Between having those guys and Mike Kafka in the game,
it took a really severe dip in quality there towards the end.
It did. It really did.
I don't want to give too much love to Dallas here, but Lucky Whitehead is probably the coolest name for a football player currently in the NFL.
Agreed.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Lucky Whitehead.
Lucky Whitehead.
He is one heck of a guy, that Lucky Whitehead. But he didn't have the big play for the Cowboys. The big play went from Romo to Terrence Williams on a play that just saw the Vikings secondary looking like the Three Stooges out there.
That should have been a 20-yard play at the most. And he broke away, and I threw my phone, and then I realized, wait, I don't think that was. Maybe it might have been the second team, but I was like, all right, it's preseason. Don't let your blood pressure get up before the Niners game. That would not be good.
No, that was the first team defense that was out there for that one. Because we saw Harrison Ford. No.
We
didn't see Harrison Ford, but we did see Harrison Smith take a little bit of a tumble. And then we saw Robert Blanton get in the way of pursuing Xavier Rhodes that just saw a car crash happen there. And Terrence Williams just ran it on in. It was a play that you look at and you're like, this is just, there's no way it should have happened. But plays like that do happen.
What not to do next time. I'm sure Mike Zimmer had a heyday with that play.
It's true. That is true. But let's head over to talk about the Vikings wide receivers. Mike Wallace, 3 targets, 3 catches, 50 yards. Good stuff. Good stuff. And then we had Dominique Williams also caught all 3 of his balls for 10 yards. Good stuff there as well. Jerick McKinnon added 27 yards on 4 catches on 4 targets. Teddy being really excellent on those short-range passes, the swing passes. You know, those confidence boosters that you see a lot in the NFL. The easy passes they might not get a ton of yards. They might pick up 1 or 2. It's just those dice rolls, the screens, the passes to the flat, those kind of things. They add up. They really do. But we did see something that at least I really liked from the running backs. I loved what I saw from Dominique Williams. I
He won't
really
make
do
the
believe
roster.
that he'll be the guy that ends up on the practice squad after, Adrian and Asiata and McKinnon end up on the 53. There is a chance that there will be a fourth running back on the main roster. I personally wouldn't bet on it.
I have done my first mock 53, and I could not nowhere near squeeze that one. You got to keep three running backs, in my opinion, is about all you can safely keep.
Because a lot of teams will count your fullback if they run one as a running back. But as we said earlier,
I don't think we'll be keeping a
show,
fullback on this roster either.
Zach Lyon has been
Awful.
Quite disappointing. They even gave him a carry in this game where he got nothing.
Yeah, I was talking to people about that online too. I was like, do you guys really think when the season counts, you're going to take the ball away from Adrian Peterson, MVP Adrian Peterson? Or you could even make a case, short yardage situation, line up Matt Asiata, guy's a bulldozer as well too. You going to take a carry away from either of those two and give it to Zach Lyon? I mean, no, you're not. That's ridiculous.
And is Zach Lyon a good enough protection specialist and run block specialist to warrant a spot on the roster?
I don't think so.
Right now, no.
Here's my opinion, if he makes this roster, it is because he is Rick Spielman's pet project.
Very well could be true. Another guy, DeJuan Harris, 3 carries for -1 yards. I'm surprised he wasn't part of the first round of cuts, to be honest. I think it's because he had some guaranteed money in his contract when he came over, actually. I think that might be the only reason why he's still on.
I know a certain fan page who has him mocked into the starting lineup for the team.
Yeah.
Yeah! How well do you think that's going to work at
He
him?
likes taking 4, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't see it. Darren McFadden averaging 9.2 yards per carry for the Dallas Cowboys. How about that? 4 carries for 37 yards.
Throw up my dinner. I'm over here rallying for Ray Rice to get a job and get behind that Dallas line and blah, blah. And Darren McFadden actually looks like he's useful for the first time in 5 years. So that was crazy.
Hey, maybe they should sign Trent Richardson.
No, that only, to me, that only solidifies that Dallas's line is legit. I'm just going to throw that out there. And I'm really glad AP didn't go to Dallas. Let's just throw that out there, too. I'm glad we stuck to our guns and old Jury didn't give us a first round because I couldn't imagine AP behind that line, even though we have a good line ourselves. And that's it. That's all the love I'm giving Dallas for the rest of the day. Damn it.
Defensively, we had 2 juniors up top of the list in tackles. Gerald Hodges, Antone Exum. Hodges with 8, and one of those being a tackle for a loss. Exum with 4 total. I read that absolutely wrong. Gerald Hodges only had 4, all 4 of them being solo tackles. I added them together. That's not how that works. Eric Kendricks had 3 solo tackles, 4 total. We did see some pretty cool stuff going on with Chikobo Anubi. A nice tackle for a loss. A nice solo tackle for a loss when he busted through the offensive line. What else did we see here? Tom Johnson.
Tom Johnson's a beast.
He celebrated his birthday this week.
Yeah.
31st birthday. And it's hard because you don't think of him as being that old when you watch him play. He's demolishing through everything. 2 quarterback hits, 1 tackle for a loss, that being a sack.
Well,
and
hey,
it was unbelievable.
It goes back to what I like to see from these guys who are out there and he's considered a backup on this team, playing other backups, but he doesn't look like it. He looks way above the talent level of those around him. That's what we were saying before. Don't play down, don't look like a backup when you're surrounded by backups. Tom Johnson didn't look like a backup when he was out there. He looked like a freaking beast of a starter. I love it.
The fact that another team wasn't able to scoop him up with the time he had in free agency is unbelievable.
Yeah.
It is. It's amazing.
We're lucky to have him as a rotational guy. Absolutely
true. True. The Vikings only had one pass defended this game,
Chris Cook? Nah, I'm kidding, guys.
and it was Andrew Sendejo. I still am an Andrew Sendejo fan. I like the effort he puts in. I like his contributions on special teams. He's a guy that I want to see stick around for the Vikings for quite a while.
I think he will.
He's a good backup.
Good core special teams player, too.
Absolutely. For the Dallas defensive side of the ball, Damian Wilson and Andrew Gakkar.
Sure.
They each had 5 tackles. Overall, let's be honest, I don't think anyone wants to pay attention to the Dallas defensive side of the ball.
Nope.
So let's move on there, aside from the one Brandon Carr interception we already talked about.
Yeah.
From that Sean Hill, whatever the heck that was.
The lob. The Sean Hill lob.
And for the next segment, let's pass it on over to Mr. Kyle Smith, who's already talked a little bit about the CPAT kickoff return touchdown. If you want to say a little bit more about that, or if you're all talked out.
No, I would love to give him credit when credit's due. We just talked about this recently. We want to see something from Cordero that is worth merit to solidify why he's going to get a roster spot. I think we all three agree, and most everybody out there, Cordero's going to be on the team. He's going to be kind of low on our wide receiver chart, but we all know he's a return specialist. If we can get up those trick plays, put him in as a running back, he can do great things with his athletic abilities. But 107 yards back, 2 yards ahead of his record that he set, I think, 2 years ago, because you can't go any farther than 109 yards. I'm going to be honest with you. If you guys haven't seen it yet, the Cowboys definitely helped us out a lot on this. But
their special teams is not good.
Their special teams is atrocious, but our special teams is not. Quite the opposite, if you ask me. We capitalized, and Cordero, you could tell the moment he made his first cut to the right, he was gone. And when you give that kid an inch of space, he's going to shift. And I loved it. He made a shift where you thought he was going right, cut to the left, and he made a guy fall, made a miss. It was fantastic. The highlight was actually, this is my shout-out for him for the week, is number 3 on SportsCenter's top 10 for NFL plays this weekend, 107-yard kick return. And the best part about this kick return, we had just gotten that big play to that Tony Romo, you were just talking about, I forget the receiver's name, where he left Terrence Williams. He made Dirty Harry fall on his face. Yeah. Xavier Rhodes was playing catch-up, and I'm in here throwing stuff. And what better way to strike back and just silence everybody at AT&T Stadium in Dallas immediately, right after. So it couldn't have been more perfectly timed. So shout out to Cordero. If you guys haven't seen it yet, go look it up. I'm sure there's a highlight on Vikings.com. It's pretty fun to watch.
Speaking of AT&T Stadium, did you see Lester Bagley talking about how, AT&T Stadium's nice, but U.S. Bank Stadium's going to be nicer?
What's he supposed to say? We ain't going to be as good as this. Shoot, you might as well just become a Cowboys fan. Like, really?
Yeah, but you don't offer up that information. You can say, we're both going to offer similar things. They're both great stadiums. That's the politically correct answer.
I like it. I hate when people, I be politically correct all the time. Be like, no, they have a better stadium. Screw the Cowboys. You don't like them anyway. No one likes Cowboys. We're better than them. You don't got to look straight up to look at our scoreboard.
That's true.
Uh-huh.
Blair Walsh, 2 for 3 kicking. His long was 45 yards. He also did have one punt that was 50 yards.
He's already
didn't have a whole lot of hang time, and by that time the team was already kind of tired from running down the field once, and that left things open for a long punt return from Cole Beasley. I believe it was a 40-yard punt return. And hey, when you have to gun down the field twice in a row like that, it's exhausting. It is. It really is.
My aunt once had a cat that was named Beasley, in case anyone wanted to know.
Nice, your fun West family fact of the day.
Mm-hmm. The cat is dead.
That is not a fun fact.
How many? Let's shift off the sad news of dead cats. How many of you guys gasped and took a breath of air when Jeff Locke was over there limping off the field? I was like, oh God, no, here we go. That was not very fun to watch. I'm glad he bounced back and came in and finished the game. Shout out to Blair Walsh.
I'm absolutely not concerned about him at all.
Huh.
Like I thought, he's fine.
You're cold-hearted, Adam.
I am. I'm kind of sick. But then again, I
was
didn't feel like there was anything really severely wrong with it the way he landed. Like sometimes you can look at it and you can say, "Oh, that's messed up."
It's sad
And
to
other
say
times-
because you have multiple people at certain positions, i.e., running back, which we won't go there, or quarterback, but we'll say a wide receiver goes down. Well, I've got 5 more. We got one punter. I was like,
And if
oh
wide
god.
receivers go down, put some tight ends in there. Tight ends go down, get some running backs in there. There's plenty of guys.
I was just happy. Good job for Blair Walsh having to go on the fly, and he actually had a great punt, even though he was in the back of the end zone, which wasn't fun. His position sucked, but his punt was actually really good.
And when Jeff Locke couldn't be on the field for the extra point, who was the holder?
Jared Allen
No.
was the backup long snapper.
Adam Thielen.
Was it Adam Thielen? Man,
It was.
the multi-talented.
Hey, we got his name right this week. More than a Thielen.
I will actually have to sing it in my head just to get it right. That's what's sad. Otherwise, I would say it the other way every time. As long as I got a second to prepare, I can do it. Next week, which is this week now, Thursday, we've got 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Central for you Minnesota people.
Minnesota.
The Vikings will travel to... Yeah. Minnesoters?
Minnesotans.
No, Minnesoters.
Minnesota. We're traveling to Tennessee. We're going to play the Titans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where sadly David Cobb isn't going to be in action.
Who?
David Cobb.
Randall Cobb?
No.
Horn Cobb?
University of Minnesota running back. He's out.
I know, I'm kidding.
Come on.
He's-
Come on. But we might get to see Marcus Mariota.
You think you're going to play him? I would actually love to see what our defense does against him, but I
Tom
don't-
Johnson would eat him alive. He'd eat him like a corn of cob.
I am actually a big fan of playing rookie quarterbacks in the preseason finale, both for a confidence booster and experience.
I am generally just a big fan of playing the Titans, because we usually beat the Titans.
They are not fantastic.
Yeah.
They do have a preseason win over the St. Louis Rams, which is cool.
Can you name 5 guys on the Titans roster?
I can't.
I can't.
Yes.
Well, Adam, the floor is yours. Name 5 Tennessee Titans.
Marcus Mariota.
Bing.
Darrell Green Beckham, he's a rookie.
Boom.
Got drafted this year, wide receiver. You got Hakeem Nicks.
Bam.
Remember the former New York Giants wide receiver. And I already mentioned David Cobb.
Shazam.
You know,
One
the
more.
running back from Minnesota. And then you've got Denoris Searcy.
Boom.
Wow,
That's 5.
you left off somebody I was sure you were going to say, too. That's good stuff. Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, yeah.
Zach Mettenberger. Yeah, I knew 2 of them.
Skill positions. Come on, that's easy.
Poor Tennessee. God, when you think about Jacksonville and Oakland, you got to throw Tennessee in there, too.
And don't forget Bishop Sankey.
I just thought of a really horrible, cheesy joke. You want to hear it?
I like cheese.
Absolutely.
Let's hear it.
I had a Zach Mettenberger for lunch today.
That's it?
Yeah, that was it. It was
Oh,
grilled.
that's
How
not-
many
that's not
how
good
many
at all.
toppings can you have?
It was
Can
a-
you pick 6?
It was no.
Oh, there you go.
Ooh. Actually, I heard that before on a Matt Schaub joke, so I have to give the credit. But
Wait a minute, how does that turn into a hamburger joke? Matt Schaub, that doesn't even work.
Matt Schaub walked into a Houston when he was playing for Houston. I saw it on Facebook. It said he walked into a Houston burger joint, and they said, "Hey, you want to have our Schaub burger?" He's like, "Oh, it's named after me." He's like, "Yeah, get as many toppings as you want. Scratch that. You can only pick 6." Genius joke of the day.
Good stuff.
Weird.
Good stuff.
We're all off topic here, though.
Where's he floating around at these days?
Oh God, that's a fantastic
Does anyone
question.
know?
He's still
Yeah,
employed
no.
somewhere. Yeah.
I don't think he is.
Yeah.
He's
Oh,
still in the NFL. The keyboard clicks. He's a backup somewhere.
Baltimore. Ravens, that's right. Terrell Suggs was making fun of him in practice. I do remember reading that story.
That's not good. Social media question of the week. Who's the one player you're looking forward to making the roster and another player that might not earn a spot?
I don't think...
Tommy Gunn's got a hot take.
A hot take. Let's hear it.
He says Cullen Loeffler will make the team.
Uh-oh.
Following an injury to Kevin McDermott in the final preseason game against Tennessee. That's his hot take right there. He says, but seriously, Marcus Sherrills will make the team yet again somehow.
Totally agree.
Best gunner on the team.
Mike Leonard says Michael Pruitt, Stephon Diggs, and Eric Kendricks are going to fight for the Rookie of the Year.
I like that.
Sherrills, Ford, and Cole will all be left out. Pretty good stuff. Brandon Alice says, I hope Justin Tratto makes the roster this year. Hunter and Crichton will likely make it because they're both third-round picks, but I think they should keep Tratto as well, and I could definitely see that happening.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand that answer, so I'm going to skip that one. Thomas Buge says Diggs will look to be a solid player, but I think they part ways with Patterson if he has another temper tantrum. Pretty good stuff. Corbin Johnson is feeling Brian Peters just like Gene Lavoie is. Brian Peters getting some love. Good stuff.
He is
how about you guys? Do you guys have any under the radar guys?
Brian Peters is on my mock 53. I think he makes this roster as well.
He very well could. He's been having a really, really good preseason.
He's one of those guys that I feel like you can afford to bring on your roster, but he doesn't have to be active, but it'll be a good long-term investment with him.
He's got good athleticism. He can contribute in other ways. He can play multiple spots. What he brings to the team is what I love about the Vikings and what they look for in players.
I feel like he'll be poached if you try to slide him onto the practice squad.
Very well could. Very well could. Next week. Now, I'm not going to post this question up on the Facebook page until after Thursday's game. But after seeing the Minnesota Vikings this preseason, are you more optimistic about the team or are you less encouraged? In other words, did the preseason lift you up a little about the Vikings? Do you think, okay, after seeing this preseason, these guys are going to be good? Or did you kind of be like, I didn't really like what I saw too much, and my expectations were a little high from before the preseason, and it kind of came crashing down a little bit? I don't know. Let us know what you think.
I have to give a public service announcement to this. We encourage both negative and positive, whatever your opinion is. But if you're going to be negative, because we are currently only going to be 4-1 at the worst, and I don't foresee that happening against the Tennessee Titans. We are only going to be 4-1 at the absolute worst. There's a lot to be excited about. If you're going to be negative, you damn sure better bring a reason why. I say it at work all the time. You can complain all day long, but if you don't have a reason or a solution behind it, it's just belly aching. Tell us why. And that's what makes for good conversation. But I'm gonna be straight up with you. There's a lot to be fired up about this team. So
and there are some stuff that you can kind of be like, about. There's stuff on both sides, and I'm curious to see how that's being weighed by these guys, and we'll have our answers next week as well.
Mm-hmm. We sure will.
All right, so you don't have a bold statement this week, right?
Nope. We're going to do our projections and all that stuff, I'm sure, pretty soon, and maybe game-by-game stuff. So we're going to save that for the week. We're just going to plug some stuff.
Absolutely. On the Facebook page and on Twitter, we're still trying to do the jersey giveaway over on Yahoo in the Survival League. All you got to do is pick the team that you think is going to win each week. You choose one team.
Pick the Vikings every week.
You can't. You can only pick a team once.
Pick the Vikings every week. That's my strategy.
If you pick the Vikings week 1, you can't pick the Vikings again.
But what if you did, Adam?
You can't.
But
Take
what?
away the option.
But what if you wrote
then you're a hacker.
What if you wrote it in? Like
no, there's no write-in.
Like a write-in ballot. What if you attached?
There's no crying baseball.
What if you attached it to a pigeon and sent it to Adam Carlson?
That would not do any good, especially since it has to go through Yahoo. I mean, I appreciate the pigeon letter, I would, but it would really be ineffective and a waste of pigeon power.
I don't know. The pigeon would probably be happy.
But head on over. All the information is on the Facebook page. Or you can just go to the survival group join page. I believe it's 1281 is the user ID. The password is Skol, all capital letters. Just sign up, dominate the league, get yourself a Vikings jersey, wear it proudly, send us some pictures, and promote the heck out of it. Why not? Let's get everybody you know in there. Let's get them all a chance to win a jersey.
Even if they're a Packers fan.
Hey, as Wayne Gretzky said, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So if you don't sign up for this, you're guaranteed not to win a jersey. But if you do, you're not guaranteed not to.
That's true. On the Facebook page today, I also posted up a link to Mr. Kyle West's page where he has some photographs for sale that I'm sure he'd be willing to talk about.
I have some photos up for sale, some Vikings photos right now.
Training camp, right?
Yeah, they're all from training camp. There's a couple in there from game. But yeah, mostly training camp shots, a lot of cool ones of Adrian in there, folks. You can get them printed out, 8x10 size, so you can take them up to Mankato, you can take them to games. Wherever you go, you can get autographs put on them. You check back. I'm going to have a lot more stuff other than Vikings up on here as the days go by.
You can get them matted and framed and all this fancy stuff.
You can get Adrian Peterson on a shower curtain. If you
Perfect
really
for your man cave, guys.
That's
if you've got a Vikings man cave,
right.
He's got some really good photos up. He actually let us look at them. He's going to have the link up. But it's really cool, and the best part is this isn't something you can go on Google and steal and get printed out for free. These are all shot by Mr. West himself, so they're unique to each of their own.
You could steal these, but I would really appreciate it if you didn't. I will be buying my own domain name here really shortly for this, but right now it is kind of silly, so bear with me. It is kyle-west.artistwebsites.com at the moment. That will be changing as soon as I come up with something better, but that is what they gave me for the moment. But like you said, check it out over on facebook.com/Purple People Podcast. You can see the link right on there as well, too.
That's right. Mr. Smith might do some things. I don't know. Do you got anything that you want to promote?
I have two. I'm trying to, this is really, really new school, younger generation of me. If you guys are still listening to this deep into the podcast this week, follow my personal Twitter handle. I would love to have more Vikings folks on there. It's Purple Skoldier, Skoldier. And I would just like to say, I've been in Texas for the last 3 weeks. I've loved every second of it. As many of you guys have probably heard me rant before, I'm a military working dog, aka a canine handler. So I'm going to do the Bob Barker thing this week, kind of promoting pet stuff. If you're thinking about adopting a dog and a larger dog, go to Google, hit up the military working dog adoptions website. You can save a veteran's life. And I say this because I've been around these dogs for almost 4 years now. All of our service animals are military working dogs, specialized search dogs, whatever they used to be. There are over 100, 150 sitting at this base in San Antonio right now, waiting for a home. You fill out an application, you get a bio. The only thing you pay for is shipping costs to you from an airport. And most of these dogs are former BAs, and they have a good military record. That's my soapbox for the week. Adopt a vet and save a life.
That is fantastic.
After that, me asking people to go to Undead Walking and check out my writing sounds kind of not so cool anymore.
Oh, come on. You got some amazing stuff over there. You guys need to check that out. And if I'm seeing some of your Facebook activity right, Mr. Carlson, you're getting the inside scoop here and there.
I just released a couple big spoilers for Season 6 of The Walking Dead, if you're a big fan of that. And I mean big, like big, like deaths and mutilations and just really cool things if you're into that kind of stuff. So if you like The Walking Dead and want a little teaser, spoiler, rumor kind of stuff, that's a good place to go.
I want you to fill me in after we stop recording.
No.
Yes.
Well, you can always go to Undead Walking and read it for yourself.
I could. I will. I might do that right now.
There you go. On that note, I'd like to thank everyone for listening. Thanks for sticking with us. It's great to be back and be able to talk Vikings football along with all those other shenanigans we discussed. And thank you for listening. It means a lot to have you guys here. And I hope to see you over on our Facebook page as well as at Purple People Pod on Twitter. Thanks again, and stay classy, Minnesota.